not every day you come across an E60 M5 on Marketplace with photos like this. Or maybe it is. Not in New Zealand anyway. When I saw this rig with sketchy details and even worse photos, I just couldn't help myself. The seller claimed it had been parked up due to financial reasons, which sounds like a typical E60 M5 ownership experience. Despite sitting for a couple of years, apparently it still ran and drove. But there was still the big underlying question, why was it parked up in the first place? In saying that, I couldn't quite resist the opportunity to own a naturally aspirated 500 horsepower V10, even if it had been parked in a paddock for a couple of years. I jumped in the ute, loaded the trailer, and made the 4-hour trip south. Go and check it out. Well, there it is. See what the story is. I didn't do any filming during the viewing process. I'm just that's not how I roll. But it was pretty clear the car's in average cosmetic condition. There were a whole host of lights on the dash, the full Christmas tree, but there wasn't a red cog of death, and the engine didn't sound like it had run a bearing yet, so. Well, I guess we'll have a look around and see what we've got. Super dry rotted front tyres. Brakes don't look too bad. If I can machine that surface rust off, maybe. Carbon front lower lip, which seen better days. Headlights will need a resto, looks like they've got clear coat on them. Yeah, how's those tyres? Body in general doesn't look too bad. Hard to say whether that's original paint, I'd have to measure it. But don't know if you can see that, but the paint on the bonnet's pretty crazed. Interior, not great, not bad. Bit of the usual E60 sort of stuff going on. Wear on the driver's bolster there. Alcantara hood lining. Bit of this going on. The exhaust is original, except I think the rear mufflers have been modified somewhat. There's some sketchy looking welding going on here. Don't know what that is. It is louder than factory anyway. That classic. That's got to be the first thing to go. Same with that. I have been to the Nürburgring and I do like it, but I'm sort of just not that guy. But yeah, oh yeah, see how this window trim's trying to escape. Well, let's chuck a battery in it and see what happens. Newton 88, I think it is. To start this car's rejuvenation process, I got some fuel injection cleaner and whacked that in. There we go. that was a pretty bad cold start, but we'll get to the root cause of that later. Actually, before I do anything, this has got to come off. That's a sigh of relief getting that off. To sort that badge out as well at some stage. Alright, what have we got? This is hanging down lower than it should be. Looks like that. Muffler hanger isn't even attached. That's good. Looks like this custom exhaust is leaking a little bit. Looks like a minor weep from the... Oh, it's not too bad. Put it on the diff. Here's those tyres. Jesus. Yeah, been some rally driving going on. The underbody trays, well, at least it's there, which is pretty amazing in itself. Doesn't look too wet down here, which is good. That's that lovely carbon. It just looks like fiberglass to me, but maybe it is carbon, I don't know. That's pretty cooked. I wonder if I can take that off. How's the cringe red calipers? Oh, that'll be changing pretty quick. Yeah, gross. So I've had the car on the lift, just scanning codes and mucking around and whatnot, and noticed that even after the key was off, it's not on at the moment, but you get the neutral light up on the dash and the gear stick still had the light on even after the car should have gone to sleep. So did a bit of research and this is what I found. Got several damaged wires and one broken one in the trunk, well, trunk lid, boot lid loom. So I'm hoping that's the reason why a car's not going to sleep, which is good because it was just sitting there priming the SMG pump every 2 minutes as if the car's getting ready to start. So I'm going to fix these up and hopefully that helps. I'm sure it will. Alright, resoldered one join insulated the rest that were exposed. I've removed this rubber grommet, as the people of the internet reckon that's the reason why those wires break, is that it puts too much of an angle on where it comes out of the hinge or out of that boot arm. So hopefully that works. Alright, moment of truth. Beauty. Yep. Sort of tries to launch itself into space like any good E60, but yeah, it works. Sweet. Until I can justify spending $2,500 on a set of Michelins, I'm just going to put a set of these cheaper Achiro tyres, which actually have good reviews. They'll do in the meantime until we get everything else sorted. Well, that's much better having the correct size tyre on the rear. It had 245/40s, I think. And OE size is 285/35. First up on the service list is an oil change. 10W60 fully synthetic, we need 9.2 litres. Bosch filter, got that from Rock Auto, which was way cheaper than finding one locally. Let's do it. Alright, this is the state of the Christmas tree we've got. Cold start's not too bad, but I do have reduced engine power. I've got an airbag fault, stability control as well, so we'll go through those when I get a chance. So I've got this little generic code scanner here. I've just deleted the codes after the oil change. As you saw, the Christmas tree lights sort of situation we had before, and I pulled out of the driveway and they've pretty much all disappeared, which I wasn't expecting, but I guess that's good. Just got an airbag light up at the moment, and this bloody Japanese toll counter which just won't shut up. Yeah, so oil's up to temp now. Looks like we're showing 1.5 litres below zero, which I think is just within okay range, not too full. Let's go for a drive and see how she goes. Probably get a check engine light, but we'll give her a pull, see what happens. Yep, there it is. I guess it wasn't going to be that easy, was it? The old faithful $20 scanner showed a couple of codes for low fuel pressure, so I thought I'd start with the cheapest option, the fuel filter. In true BMW fashion, they've decided to build the fuel filter into the sender unit, so instead of being a, $50 part, it was $300. And that's with me scouring the internet for the cheapest price on a Bosch unit. Anyway, let's chuck it in. I don't think that should be black. Jeez, no wonder. Let's see if that fuel filter made a difference. Straight away I've noticed probably an easier cold start, and it feels a little bit more responsive, but that could just be placebo, so I'll have to give it the proper stress test in a second. Right, so the end button. Got some pepper, alright. Alright, back into civilized mode. Previously the engine was actually going into reduced power mode, so to fix this fault with just a fuel filter is pretty satisfying. Later that day my new Foxwell scanner showed up. I managed to clear all the codes, including the airbag fault, and look at that, nothing on the dash. Well, that'll just about do it for now. Next up we're going to get the car road legal again, get it a warrant of fitness, and then actually drive it. If you're keen to follow along, just hit subscribe, but if you don't want to, that's all good as well. Beauty. Cheers.